welcome back, guys. I am your host, Keyblade Kyrie 2010. If you are new to my channel and you like what you see, please smash that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. And for all of you who have already subscribed or have been with me on this long, amazing journey, thank you and welcome back. So I had a question today and I posted on Facebook basically saying, ask me any question about cosplay, a question about anything about me, and I'll answer it in a video. So this person decided to ask me a question, and his name is, I'm pretty sure, Nathan Fairbrink. I'm sorry, I probably butchered your last name entirely, or your first name too. But anyways, you asked me a question, and so here's my answer. Your question was, what was the most complicated cosplay to make for you? My most complicated cosplay. I haven't made very many. I'm actually currently making a ball gown dress, which is going to be really cool. So I don't know what to say on that one. I will say the Elsa dress definitely gave me quite a bit of heartache and whatnot. It was quite a bit of a pain in the butt. The fabric was not wanting to work with me, especially the only parts that it really did not want to work with me, I would have to say, were the parts that was the corset, and then the top, the other piece, the sleeve top and whatnot, was quite a pain in my ass. Other than that, I would have to say the other thing that was hard to make and whatnot, I would have to say would be like the props. For example, my first prop that I ever made would be the lollipop chainsaw prop for Juliet Starling. That was my first prop I ever made. I didn't know what I was doing. My friend, bless her heart, came and helped me, and we figured it out together, and it turned out fantastic. The next prop that I ended up making was a scythe. And basically, if you don't know Vampire Knight and whatnot, I made a scythe basically with the help from my friends and whatnot, because at first all I knew is someone had to at least draw it for me and cut it out, and then we got too close to time crunch and whatnot, so we just decided to scrap what we had, and basically my friend took over, and we got it done, and it looked fantastic. It still looks fantastic. It's just a prop right now that just sits up against my wall right now, but it was quite a pain to make it that tall, to actually, you know, it's way taller than me, as you can see in the photos. It's ridiculous to get in through the door and get out of the door and whatnot. It's quite a bit of a pain in my patootie, but we still managed to make that thing look amazing. A lot of people liked it, thanks to my friend for helping me out. I mean, we were only like, I think, about a week away. She was making her staff for Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians, and I was trying to help her as best I could with the scythe, and then she kind of took over because we kind of got a little bit out there, and I was like, oh, okay, she took over, which means I'm pretty sure that she's kind of frustrated with me. So that was frustrating. And then the part that was also frustrating is attaching it to the actual wood piece itself. Like, we didn't know how we were going to do that. We didn't know if we were going to cut it in half and then have it on both sides of the blade and whatnot. And I didn't like that idea, you know. It was very frustrating. And then another friend of ours came over and looked at it, because we literally stuck a pole through the back end of it and then like duct taped the hell out of it from one side, which looked terrible. And then eventually we found out that that wasn't going to work because the styrofoam in it literally just, it snapped on that side entirely, and we didn't even paint that side. So basically we tore that all apart, and well, technically he tore it all apart in front of us, and we're like, our hard work. You know, we tried to get it to stay, and so he's all like, well, why not do it this way? So he actually cut where the pieces in the middle, you'll see that there's like duct tape right there. He actually basically cut out the size of the staff piece itself, and then squeezed it in there basically after he cut it all out, and then Gorilla Glued the hell out of it, and then we put tape over it so that way it would look like it blended in. So I mean, I'm a new experience all the time and whatnot. I get people that look at my props and they're like, well, why did you think of doing this? Did you think of doing that? You know, sometimes no, we don't think of that. Another thing that, for a prop, we actually made the Olaf prop and whatnot. And the Olaf was already, you know, we went and bought Olaf himself, but we needed him to stand up on stage. I needed him to stand up on stage. And I mean, I came up with the base just a little bit, and I knew that I wanted to cover it in the blue fabric that was left over from the cosplay itself. And I knew it was just going to be a pain in the butt. I couldn't get his head to sit right. It looks too lopsided. It was terrible. So then we, my friend, Amira, poor Amira, she burned her fingers like numerous times trying to get the fabric on the cardboard. And then she literally took an old hanger and bent it all funny and wrapped it around his neck, made it go all the way from his neck all the way down to his back to one of his foot, so that way it propped him upright. And then she stuck a piece of duct tape to the back of his head, and then glued a cardboard that was already covered in fabric to the back of the tape, so that way if I wanted to take him apart, I can. And that's what holds him up right there in on that specific prop. It's a pain in the butt, but it worked out amazing. Everybody loved it and whatnot. What else is the most complicated thing that I've done for cosplay? I'll let you know how the ball gown goes. I will. I'll update. I'll make another video afterwards, after the ball gown has been made and after the ball gown has been shown off and whatnot. I'll definitely make a video on that to let you know how that went. I will say, altering a costume when you buy a costume and it doesn't fit right is a pain in the butt. It doesn't, like, even when we were doing the corset for Elsa and whatnot, it was quite a bit of a pain in the butt for it to fit the girls. We had to alter it several different times, that specific costume. We altered Grelstock-Cliff. I bought Grelstock-Cliff, and then we altered it as best we could. Even Aqua's costume from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, we altered that one as well, and that one we took in because it was way too big. We added, we took one of the long, like, side tassels that she has, and we cut that, and we made two of them because it was missing one of them. So then, when we bought another costume, basically, we took the pieces from that, and then we basically clashed it with the other costume that it was missing stuff and whatnot. What else was difficult about a cosplay costume? Malfunctions! Malfunctions are always nice. Even for my Grelstock-Cliff dress, that my friend let me borrow his dress and whatnot, which was awesome of him. And having the back end of it just like split open right before like the dance that I was going to go to and whatnot was quite a bit of a pain. Even for like photo shoots and whatnot, I was carrying around roses and stuff like that. Even the dress itself kind of was a pain in the butt, even though it wasn't even handmade. You know, malfunctions happen. Like I had for before I went on stage as Yuki Cross. If you look back at some of my older videos, the actual, like, you know, the picture that I show you guys when I post my YouTube channel logo, and then I post a picture of that year's convention photo. If you look, compared to the photo that I've probably already showed you of Yuki Cross, or I'll probably show again, I have different boots. Why is that? Because the boot actually split during photo shoot. Entirely split, and I was so mad. And so I went and got my backup boots, which don't have really good like they are really slick on that floor that they have in there. It was ridiculous. I have never had a boot or a shoe split on me before, but I almost fell during that shoot to get that awesome picture of Yuki Cross on that cool background with my scythe. I mean, Jesus criminy, it was just malfunction. I mean, same thing with the Elsa dress. I will say that, you know, there were several mishaps with it, with the sewing, because it would, like, I wouldn't realize that I was actually sewing, like, I was trying to push, like, the excess over the ledge, and some of the excess would get caught in the stuff that I'm already sewing. So then you'd have, like, this bunch of fabric that you weren't intending to sew. You just needed to sew the seam, and it's all bunched up in there. So now you got to take the seam ripper and rip that out. I mean, I've sewn a couple things in my life in home ec class, but I have never sewn a costume before, except for Elsa so far, plus the dress that I'm working on. It's complicated. It's really complicated. It can get, like, depends on what you're working with. Like, here in a couple years or so, I want to do Nero from Devil May Cry 4, and I want to make his arm. I want to do the female version of Nero, and I want to make his arm. So I've never done, you know, anything like that. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to get a hold of people that I know to help me do that. I do want to start making more props, like, for example, Aqua's Keyblade, the Kingdom Key, which I got a lot of comments saying that's not her Keyblade, that's not her Keyblade. Yes, I know it's not her Keyblade, and I feel bad that it's not her Keyblade, but my mom went under severe surgery and whatnot, and I couldn't make the Keyblade that I wanted, so I wanted to get the actual Kingdom Key eventually anyways. So it was the cheapest Keyblade I could find on Amazon. It was like $80 or something. And so I went and bought it, and I was like, well, this is my backup Keyblade. If I can get this project done, we'll see. Well, then I got a little worried for my mother that year, and I kept putting it off, and I was so scared for her, and I was like, you know, I got so frustrated at one point in time, and I actually tried working on it, and I basically destroyed it afterwards because it wasn't really up to my standards. I have OCD, and it wasn't up to my standards. I didn't like the way it looked, and I don't have any pictures of it and whatnot, so I trashed it altogether because it wasn't any good. So, and I ran out of stuff, and it was just frustrating. So granted, my mother's well now because it's been 2 years and whatnot, but I get a lot of people that commented on some of the photos. They're like, that's not her Keyblade. I know, but my mother had issues, and it was a backup idea, and yeah, who cares? It's just a Keyblade. What else? I will say, like the snow props that I had for Elsa that you probably saw. The snow props for Elsa were a little bit of a pain, and that was extra fabric from my cape, and that was quite a bit of a pain in the rear end to actually make. Basically what we did was we took what's left of the fabric, and I cut it right down the center, and then I bunched on one of them I just had one, and the other I didn't have enough, so I bunched up two of them. We basically cut a hole in the middle of it, and then we put the thread through it, which I wanted chicken wire or something, so that way it didn't look like actual string, but we didn't have any. And so we decided to do that and then attach these rings to the ends of them, the rings to your keys and stuff like that, those types of rings. And then my friend helped me out with that, because the way I was doing it was the terrible way. I was wrapping it around and wrapping it around and wrapping it around and just kept going and going, and I was all like, this looks like crap. And then she came up with that idea, and then I was like, oh, okay. It's coming up with the ideas and the vision, I would have to say, is the most complicated thing. Whether it be a prop item, whether it be a cosplay item, or a cosplay costume, or even just a small little item, it's frustrating to come up with the actual idea. I mean, you see the pictures of the character, you know what the character looks like. It's just really freaking frustrating when it doesn't go the way you want it to. So I'll say those moments are frustrating when you can't think outside the box, or someone else has a better idea. That's why I go to my friends. My friends help me out, and they're an amazing people. I don't take hardly all the credit. I did have a hand in it. I did do a lot of the work and whatnot, but they helped me out with the ideas, the paint jobs. They help me actually put it together in some sense and whatnot. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting help. I mean, especially because I've been only doing this since 2012, and I'm still trying to figure things out. And, I want to do Aqua's armor one year. I really do. That will be my ultimate goal, is to do Aqua's armor. And I know Warbler is involved and all this other stuff, but I'm sitting there shaking my head. I'm all like, I can't envision this. It's frustrating. It really is absolutely frustrating to sit there and be like, I want to do this, but I can't envision this. So, even my other cosplay friends and whatnot, they even when she did, I can't remember, I don't know if she wants her name in here, so I'm not going to mention her name. She did the Cactar from Final Fantasy. She actually made that. She made Dragonite from Pokemon, I want to say. And the wings moved, and the mouth moved. It was really cool. And this year she made the Skexis from... I don't remember the name of that movie. I know it's part of the series of, not series, I can't remember. Something, the Crystal Mirror. I don't remember. She made the Skexis, and she sits inside of it basically, and the mouth opens, and she can move the arms, and it's this big ugly bird that she turned into this amazing thing. She's also made a Doctor Who, I can't remember, the robot things. I can't think. Shush, phone. The robot things. I can't remember from. They're blue and gold a bit, and they have all these lights on them and stuff like that. She made that. She made another creature that was some sort of alien. I have no idea what it was from, but. Yeah, she makes all these amazing things, and she blows me away every year, and I'm all like, oh my goodness, I want to be just as good, but I can't picture stuff like that. So, but another thing that's hard and complicated is definitely skits and whatnot. As you can see in most of my photos, you can see that I'm on stage for most of my stuff, and coming up with skits, making sure that the stage is the right length and whatnot, because you never know, you might be going to a place that, here at my con, it's mostly been the same. There's one time that it was the short stage without the long walkway, the catwalk type deal, and now it's just the square area and then the long catwalk. Well, it's frustrating because when I practice here, I have a small space to work with out in the living room, a very small space to work with, and to go from a small space to a stage, you gotta be able to change that on a dime and fix that on a dime and whatnot. For example, in my skit with Aqua, you know, I did this big elaborate thing, and I had to keep telling myself that the stage is bigger, move farther down the stage, move across the stage, you know. I had to drill that in my brain. I also had to, for Elsa, when we set down Olaf, I was like, okay, so how many steps is it going to take me to get to Olaf? So before, when she was setting up my stagehand was setting up all the stuff, I walk over and I'm like, okay, so this is how far I have to walk. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's how far I need to walk. You know, not that big of a deal. You know, trying to adjust, coming up with skits, I would say, is the difficult challenge as well. You know, will that be funny to them? Will they enjoy this? Will they get the hint? Will they get the concept of the story that I'm trying to portray? Like the Aqua one, I was kind of sad that we didn't, the person that was the speaker and whatnot didn't actually read my little line thing. And I didn't put in the thing, this is important. So they didn't think it was important, so they didn't put it in there, which bummed me out, because it was pretty much explaining enough so that way, A, I could set my props down as this was being said, and B, they weren't going to stare at me while I was trying to set up, you know. It was just a small paragraph, and basically it was telling people who didn't know what the game was about. So, for example, next year, if I do Yuna on stage, gotta wait on my staff, if I do Yuna on stage and whatnot, I am going to make sure that, you know, Tidus and Lulu are in the beginning part, actually having that conversation for people who do not know what Final Fantasy is and what I am doing on stage. Oh, she's sending the spirits away, you know. It's very hard and very complicated, especially preparing for it, like sound editing, music editing, you know, cutting songs, moving songs, adding words into a song, like for my Aqua cosplay skit and whatnot. My friend had to, because I didn't have a computer at that point in time, had to edit the audio in, and then I had to listen to it and make the call, is it good, is it bad, you know. I'd say skits are very, very a part of the complication of cosplay as well. You know, if you make a boo-boo, do you pick up that crown and whatnot, you know, or do you move on and pretend it's there and throw it away, you know, when it needs to be thrown, or, you know, if someone else, like for example, the one that I saw, Yaya Handu, and she was the Red Queen, and they did like this huge skit, and her crown like entirely fell, and they needed it for the skit, so she picked it up and put it back on her head, and I was like, no, don't do that. You're not supposed to mess with your cosplay at all, you know, unless it calls for it, like a pull away or something like that, like I did for Aqua. I pulled off my sleeves so I can put on the black coat. But yeah, it was part of her skit, because the other character was going to take the hat from Alice Madness and put it on her head. Well, I would have been fine with if Alice just walked over and picked up the crown that was on the ground, you know, instead of the other way around of the Red Queen actually picking it up, the Queen of Hearts picking it up, you know. I was kind of like put off by it. I was like, no, I can't believe. And then when it happened, I was like, no, it fell off. Oh no. You know, malfunctions happen on stage too, so you got to deal with that too. That's another complication that, you know, it could be something small that nobody's going to notice, to something huge. Like, for example, for Aqua, I was very concerned with my girls popping out. So to make sure that didn't happen, you know, if my costume, because my costume was just fastened up here. Literally, it was fastened up here, and it was zipped up in the back, just like to here. And to possibly have a malfunction of this coming undone and exposing to everybody, I would feel really embarrassed. So I had a skin bra on in case that happened. Luckily, that didn't happen and whatnot. But still, it's stuff happens. Malfunctions happen. You just gotta deal with how things are gonna be and whatnot, and you move with the punches. Like when we had a malfunction with the scythe, and we were trying to figure out how to put it together, and having someone else come in and look at it was an amazing thing. And we broke that styrofoam that was holding it together like several times. We had to go buy different pieces of styrofoam just to hold it up, and then have a friend come over and say, look, try it this way, see if this works, and it worked out fine. It's more sturdier than ever. So it's hard. Cosplay is hard, and cosplay is frustrating at times. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. So that's basically all I have for complications. Buying cosplay costumes is complicated too, because you never know if you have the right size. Does it look like the picture? Does it not look like the picture? Did it come out like crap? Like, for example, my Axel wig looks like Axel stuck his finger in the outlet, and it's just weird looking. It doesn't even look like the actual photo. So my friend is helping me out with that and trying to, because I don't know anything about wigs. There's always complications, whether it be the costume, the wig, the shoes, the prop. You're always going to have malfunctions in some shape or form. It's frustrating. It really is. I'm telling you. But I learn all the time. I learn, oh, that didn't work, let's try this. Oh, that didn't work, let's try this. I'm learning all the time. I may have started back in 2012, but I think I've come a long way since 2016, and I plan to try and make more of my costumes then instead of buying them as best I can, because there are some points and times where it's just freaking frustrating. I don't want to do it no more. So I'm going to try my best and stop buying costumes and actually make them. We'll see what happens. Depending on how complicated I think it is, I'm going to buy it. If it's not too complicated, like the Elsa dress, I thought was not that complicated till we got to the corset. Jeez, my phone. Shush. Anyways, yeah, that's basically all I have for you guys today, because there will always be malfunctions and whatnot. But don't get discouraged. Think outside the box. It'll be okay, I promise. It's not the end of the world because something malfunctions. Because I've dealt with several malfunctions, whether it be props, whether it be a little bit of cosplay costumes, and even on stage or before getting on stage. So yeah, thank you guys so much for all your support, and I hope I answered the question as best I can. Let me know if you guys have any other questions about cosplay, or any questions about myself, where did I come up with the ideas for the skits or whatever. I don't know. Any question will do, and I will answer it in my best ability. So, alright guys, I'm your host, Keyblade Kyrie 2010. Thank you guys so much, and I am signing out. Game on, gamers, cosplay on, cosplayers, and don't forget, smash that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. We'll see you real soon. Bye guys.